Nearly double the number of rapes reported in this country, according to a new survey. And of course, people who counsel rape victims say now, only now, is the truth finally being told. Good afternoon, I'm Ann Devlin, and today you meet the Executive Director of Pittsburgh Action Against Rape, Molly Knox, up close. Well, let's just lay out the numbers for you. They are amazing. The new Justice Department report, and this is from the New York Times, covering 1992 to 1993, and released after President Clinton's crime bill was signed, concluded that there were 500,000 incidents of sexual assault a year. These included 310,000 rapes nationwide, or attempted rapes, twice as many as published in the previous reports, and 186,000 other sexual assaults. Finally, a survey would confirm what activists and counselors have said across this country, which is that historically the number of rapes reported in these kinds of crime surveys, the number was way, way, way off. This new number doubles what we thought was happening in this country. Molly, I'm sure this isn't news to you, but I ask how you react to it.
Well, we're pleased to see that people are paying attention in a different way to the amount of rape and sexual assault, but we think it's not yet enough. Even though the numbers have doubled, if you think about what the FBI says that they believe maybe 1 in 10 rapes is reported. Okay, double that, and you see that we're still not reflecting an accurate picture of the problem. So we're happy that people are acknowledging that the problem is more frequent than people thought. But what we know every day is that more and more rape victims are out there without being counted.
There's been, I guess, a greater awareness as a result of your actions, centers such as yours across the nation saying, look, rape is a big problem. Let us better understand what rape is, that it is a crime of power and aggression against women, violence against women that is not premised on sexuality. And yet even though our consciousness has been raised, in your view, is this a watershed moment to finally confront the truth about this crime in this country? Now that you have, they aren't maybe the greatest statistics, but better statistics.
We'll take better. Better makes some sense to us, but we still have a long way to go in educating. You ask about, is it a watershed? I don't think yet, because in this country, people believe that rape only happens to adult women. They don't think about the number of children who are raped every year, the cases of incest, the numbers of men who are raped by other men every year. These people are forgotten in the picture, and what happens is there's a cycle of victimization where if a child is sexually assaulted and doesn't get some help, that child tends to internalize what happened and may, without help, pick, when she grows up, someone who's a sexually abusive partner. She may also find herself in situations where there's a lot of victimization, and it repeats over and over and over. She thinks that's reality, that's what she grew up with, but we've got to stop it, and we've got to stop it young.
I think this will just shock people. It shocked me and sickened me when I was reading the literature preparing for this interview. Your youngest victim that you offer counseling to at Pittsburgh Action Against Rape is how old?
Actually 18 months. We write that it's 2 years, but we have seen children as young as 18 months, and we know that they've been assaulted because of physical tearing, where we've been to the hospital with those children, and typically their moms who are so startled. Can you imagine having your 18-month-old child raped by someone who is in your immediate circle, whether that be a babysitter or the guy down the street who's a perfectly nice guy, or whomever has access to the children and is trusted by the children? can be the potential perpetrator.
Or, I mean, in cases of incest, it could be the father, it could be the grandfather, it could be the uncle.
Right, right. In most cases, it is the dad. And second to that, it is whomever is living in the home with mom. So it's very close into the child, and that makes it so tough for kids to tell. When you think about it, those children are dependent for their life on their parents or their caretakers, and they don't have an idea that it's wrong. They may think it hurts, that they don't like it, but they also think that what they're living is life. So it's no mystery why children don't tell.
Molly, to broaden out this conversation and include the focus that you all have on children, can you share some numbers about children who were victimized in this country and maybe here in Pittsburgh?
I know more about Pittsburgh. The national numbers are not very accurate. We're hoping that polls like this will cause them to come into balance. But in this last year, ended in June for us, we saw 3,500 victims of sexual assault. And of that number, 1/3 were children.
That's unbelievable.
Yes, yes. We believe it only happens to adults. We believe it only happens in parking garages, on the street, and it's an inaccurate picture of what's about to hurt us in the culture.
As you look at other places across the country, do we stand out for childhood victimizations, or are we just dreadfully normal?
I think we're dreadfully normal. We did not even know when we started doing this anti-violence work for women and children what the picture would look like. We had no idea, and as more and more children came forward, we recognized that because we were in the schools every day, working with the teachers, working with children, having them practice how to be sturdy, how to keep safe, working with them about possession of their bodies so that they would know what's normal, what's good touch, what's bad touch. Once we started to work with the children and started to listen to their stories, then I think the whole country was shocked when the children started to come forward and say, so-and-so did that to me. And we couldn't believe it because they were people that we trusted. How could you not trust the choir director? How could you not trust the scout leader? How could you not trust the parish priest? I mean, what we're finding out is that patterns of victimization are more huge than anyone knows, and the need for education is more important than at any time in our history.
What does it say about us? Are we more violent than we suspected? And at the same time, are the people who are not the predators more trusting than they ever should have been?
I think it's a fascinating commentary on America that we would spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to fund sex and violence as a combination. We see it in the media all the time. It's what sells movies. Kids, by the time they're ready to point their finger when they're little, are shooting guns. And this is a country that because of its heritage and its moving away from other places to build a new life in America, prizes guns, prizes a kind of violence that then we have to deny when it shows up in the face of a child or when it shows up in the face of an older woman who's 82 years old. It's not a large leap from that society that pays millions and billions of dollars to a child being hurt and us not recognizing what the problem is.